Thanks to the Noble Foundation for the opportunity to be here. I really enjoy coming up to Ardmore. Tell you a little bit about my operation. I'm the 5th generation on this ranch, and hopefully my grandchildren will be the 7th. And that's really what this is all about. I've looked at different ways to try to make our ranch sustainable, and the enterprise that I came up with, we'll back up a little bit. I spent 11 years in private practice, 9 years as an academic veterinarian, and then 12 years in the animal health business, and had time to think. I was ranching during all that time, but I was trying to think of what would be the most profitable thing that I could do that fit with my talents and my interest, and this heifer development enterprise is what I came up with. I call it value-added heifers. And these are some of the reasons. I get asked this question: why do you like developing heifers so much? Why have you done that? In fact, I've sold my cows. I don't have a cow on the place. We develop about 750 heifers a year, and there's the reasons up there that I like it. It mixes that reproductive side of the cow-calf business that I really enjoy with the margin opportunity, and I think this is an area in the beef business that has much opportunity to grow. If you look at our dairy brethren, you won't find a dairy that typically develops their own heifers anymore. Most of them farm that out to professional heifer developers, and I think there's some opportunities for that in the beef business. It really does help with my intensive grazing plans that I have for the ranch. We've been involved with some considerable improvements on the ranch over the last 10 to 12 years, and this heifer business has just made it much easier for me to achieve the goals I wanted to achieve. We're doing a fair bit of intensive grazing. We've as Jan talked about dividing pastures, we've done a lot of that, plus used some temporary fencing as well. It also complements our hunting program. We're on the Brazos River, very prime hunting area, and having those heifers off that hunting area during the winter, during deer season, has been helpful for us. I think that in the event that I don't get these bred heifers sold, I try not to buy anything that I wouldn't be proud to own as a cow, and I know someday I may be back in the cow business, and hopefully that won't be this year. But 2014 was great, and all of you in the cow-calf business, I know you could have several more continued great years, but for us margin operators, 15 is going to be not quite as great. Someone already mentioned buying these high dollar replacement heifers, and it doesn't look quite as good for 2015. Just a little bit about how my business runs. I've already talked a little bit about my philosophy, but when we procure these heifers, we buy them from a variety of sources. They're all single source load lots. I buy some from Superior Livestock. Many of them I buy from customers that I've been buying from for several years, so I know a lot of the history and how the cattle are performed. And then when we get them in, we buy all weaned heifer calves. Almost 100% of them have had a VAC 45 program. We really do very little on arrival as far as health. If I know the history, I probably won't give them any more vaccinations at the time they arrive. We reserve that for a little bit later, but we do tag the heifers, identify. We have 2 means of identification, and we BVD PI test every heifer. We've been doing that since 2000. We haven't had a positive since 2007, but we still feel like that's something that helps us with marketing these heifers. And we also typically we'll take the loads of heifers and let them walk through our facility when we unload them, just so that makes it easier the next time we're going to work them. I don't always do that, but whenever I do, I'm always glad I did. To me, it really does seem to help. Just let them walk through without anything happening to them. And then pre-breeding, this will be 30 to 60 days prior to breeding. We give a modified live IBR, BVD, lepto, clostridial, deworm, and then we do a series of reproductive exams. I mean, one time, but we do reproductive tract score, pelvic measurement, and make sure we don't have any pregnant heifers. One thing I didn't mention on my procurement, this open heifer deal is a big deal. I really emphasize anybody I buy from, they've got to be guaranteed open, or they'll adjust it, because we've had some bad deals with that. But so that's our pre-breeding. A couple of comments on pelvic measurement and reproductive tract score. I think those can kind of be overused. We just use it as an outlier culling tool. There's really very few that get actually culled due to that. We want to find infantile tracts and cattle that just aren't going to breed. And those cattle, those reproductive culls, they go into our natural beef program. We have a company called Grassy Ridge Natural Beef, and anything that doesn't make it into our reproductive program goes into that program. In our breeding program, we're 100% AI, fixed time AI. We use either a 5-day or a 14-day protocol, and a lot of that depends just on timing. We spend a great deal of time planning to move about 5 different groups of heifers through, and they'll get handled anywhere from 3 to 4 times during the synchronization process. So there's a lot of timing that goes on, and it requires quite a bit of labor. But we feel like the fixed time protocols are good enough now where there's really not any reason for us to check heat. The labor is too great, and I don't think, at least in our situation, that we would get any better pregnancy results heat checking than we do fixed time AI. So we'll AI the heifers, and then 14 days later we put out bulls. And we're probably missing a few pregnancies, those that didn't respond to synchronization and came in, but it's really important for us to be able to differentiate the AI and the bull-bred pregnancies. It helps us in our marketing, and it helps us to give that information to our customers, that whether they're AI bred or not. And then 30 days after we AI, we take a bioperin blood test. And by the fact that we put those bulls out 14 days, anything that's positive on the blood test has to be AI, because it's too early to pick up a bull pregnancy. And then I come back and ultrasound the heifers as a confirmation. And that varies kind of depending on how quickly they move through our system, how quickly we have buyers. So that's our basic breeding program. We use low birth bulls. That's one of the main reasons I like AI, is the high accuracy of these AI sires for low birth weight. And then marketing, we have a variety of ways that we market cattle. I have a lot of repeat customers, and we do some forward contracting. I've had customers buy cattle from me before we ever breed, where they put a deposit down and then they pick the heifers up after they're confirmed pregnant. We'd like to do more of that in the future, but we do some of that. We market through cattlerange.com. If any of you have ever tried that, it's an internet marketing service, cattlerange.com, and that's worked really well for us. You basically just take pictures of the animals you want to sell, and you fill out a form that has a description, and then if they sell, you send them a check for $12 a head. If they don't sell, you don't owe them anything. If they sell through another means that wasn't a result of that web advertisement, then you don't owe them for that either. But that's worked really well for us. We also use the Red Angus website and several other things, but that'd be the main way we market the cattle. We have a contract that we put together anytime we sell cattle, and it guarantees the cattle to be pregnant, and we stand behind everything. We provide as much information as we can. Obviously, these are purchased heifers. I don't raise the heifers, so I don't know a tremendous amount about the history of the dam sometimes, but we do get as much as we can, and with some of these operations, we know quite a bit about that. But we're all about trying to pass on as much information as we can. And we've been getting $500 deposits, what we get anytime we get a contract signed, and then deliver those at a later date. Follow-up, I think, is real important. We send letters to every customer when they purchase cattle. We send, as I mentioned, as much information as possible, and then I make a lot of phone calls just to see how their heifers did, if they had good luck during calving season. We want to know. We want to follow up. And since I'm a veterinarian, and a lot of them always have questions about reproductive issues, health issues, and I'm glad to provide that to customers. Certainly I recommend they use their local veterinarian, but I do help my customers a lot with their health programs. This would be kind of a summary of what the goals of my operation are. You have a baseline goal and a stretch goal. Dr. Jim McGran is a close friend of mine, and is also kind of my private consultant, and he's helped me a lot with my records. We really get pretty detailed on our estimates, our closeouts, and our projections for the next year. And one of the things that Jim has really pushed me to do is include my salary in any analysis I do. I don't really like the term break even, but this return on investment, that's after my salary's already taken out. It's not, so it's above and beyond what I pay myself, and obviously pay the other people that work for me. Just a baseline goal would be a 60% AI preg rate, overall preg rate 88%, and then selling the animals before they're 6 months pregnant. Our stretch goal, where we'd really like to be, is have that return on investment over 30%, 65% fixed time AI preg, and 92% overall, and actually move those heifers before they're 90 days bred. And we do that quite a bit. Anytime we can turn those animals quickly like that, obviously it's less expense to me. Wow, what a week. These pictures were taken Wednesday, and it's rained a lot more since then. I don't know if you can tell how wet it is, but this is probably the best wheat year we've had probably since 2007. I think it's been the wettest it's been since about 2007. So that we're really excited about that. Things are looking up, at least from the rain and moisture standpoint. I know I've run out of time, so I'm going to turn it over to the next speaker. Thank you.